Hello and welcome to episode 2 of No Country for Old Pens, my NHL 21 Pittsburgh Penguins franchise. We're picking it up at the new year, midpoint of the 2021 season. Just to recap briefly, the Pens we're doing okay. We're above 500, 21 and 18, and oddly zero ties or zero overtime losses. But we're kind of, because the division is so close. We're kind of at the low end of the standings. We're in 6th place, but you'll notice, we're at 42 points, and then there's a drop off to 7, so we don't really have any further to fall in the short term. But then above us, the first place is only 7 points ahead, so glass half full, we get a little hot. We could actually be right in the mix for the playoffs. Glass half empty, we're at the bottom right now. So, the other thing I noticed while I was kind of in initial setup, before I started rolling, was that part of our woes are that we have Pierre-Luc Dubois is out with a separated shoulder, and he's going to be out till January 21st. So, for the next couple weeks, the lines are going to be a little bit muddled. Because I was sort of thinking about, before I started, I was like thinking about a couple line combinations I wanted to check the chemistry on, so I went to check those, and I was like, where's Dubois? And then I realized he was injured, and so I was like, oh, okay. So in the short term, I'm going to go ahead and let the CPU manage the lines until Dubois comes back. And then when Dubois comes back, I had an idea of a line or two that I wanted to check out. But the net of this is that January is going to kind of determine where our season's going from here and whether we're going to be buyers or sellers at the deadline. So let's get January started. And also, kind of as a recap, the general book on the Pens is the defense and goaltending has been pretty good. We're like 5th or 6th in goals against. On the other hand, our offense has been kind of lackluster, and we're kind of toward the bottom half of the league in offense. So that's the kind of the microcosm of where we stand starting the second half. So let's fire off some games and see how we do. And remember, this is PS5, so the simming goes a lot faster here. Oh dear, Tristan Jarry, bruised hip, and he's out till January 23rd. It just keeps getting better and better. Okay, the Canadiens fired their coach, but Ruedel and a bunch of... See, I don't want to be giving up any picks right now. I'm not feeling confident enough in our situation to give up picks. And now, oh geez, Anderson's injured too. 15th is only a week or so. But geez, this is not a promising... This is not a promising start, is it? Losing our goalie and one of our top defensemen in the span of like 2 days. All right, Dubois. This time I'm going to set the lines myself because I have one thing I wanted to check. Okay, Gensel, Crosby. Let's put Tuck back on the first line because that was the whole point of getting him. What I wanted to do is I wanted to try... I think Ho-Sang is a playmaker, and I think Mangiapane is a sniper. Let me just double check these theories. Which means if I put a power forward, aka Dubois, in the middle of that. Well, first let's swap him for the... Let's give the jersey to the right guy. And that gives me a +1 chemistry. Then line 3 would then be Zucker, McCann, and Kapanen. And line 4 should be Jankowski, Dubé, and Tanev. So our forward lines are basically back to what they were at the start of the year, except I'm flopping Dubois and McCann on centers, just to try and mix things up a little bit. Let me see what defense looks like with Anderson out. Well, he just came back anyways. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and to remember I like having kind of one young guy and one veteran together on a line together. Or a pairing, rather. Okay, so things are finally... Alright, okay, I need to send a... Let me go look at the roster and make the move. Probably send a goal... I assume send the goalie down. Yeah, Lagasse can... Except he goes through waivers. I'm just gonna have to live with that. So, go to the minors, Lagasse, and see if anyone claims you. Of course, now all that roster editing I just did went for nothing. But we are finally back to full strength. That's exciting. Let's see. Zucker and Sevier for a second. I'm going to decline that for now. And we do seem to be kind of rising in the standings a little bit. On the other hand, the top seems to be getting further away from us. In fact, they were at the end of the month. The good news is, I mean, we've actually extended and are now a few more games over 500, 28, 21, 1. The bad news is it looks like we are now still in 5th. Oh, actually the bad news isn't that bad. We're still within 6 points of first place. So, I mean... The playoffs are very realistic at this point. I mean, we're fully healthy finally. I mean, I'm actually feeling pretty good about this. Our offense still a little low. Our defense, our goals for still below 3. Our goals against still pretty good at 250. Like I said, 250. Oh, actually, it's best in all of hockey. So our defense is really good. But our goals for is actually second worst in hockey. So, or I'm sorry, that's our division. So let me check it against all of hockey. So, I mean, well, but the argument stays about the same. Our goals for, we are still what, bottom 9, we're in bottom 10 there, and our goals against top 5. So I mean. The dynamics are about the same, but our standings position and our overall record are starting to look up a little bit. So I think we're going to ride this out. We might even be conservative buyers when the deadline comes, though we're already so thin on draft picks, I'm not sure I want to spend a lot. Crosby, our leading scorer. The Crosby-Gensel line starting to light up a little bit. McCann has moved up in the scoring. Kapanen finally started to show some life. Dubois, then again, if he was injured, let's be nice and give him credit for being injured. Goals-wise, okay, 20 goals for McCann, 19 for Crosby. Things are coming together. How's the goalies looking? I mean, DeSmith's playing great, and Jari is doing pretty well, too. I mean, I don't think those are like league leader numbers. I think, I think the league lead was around 220 for goals against. But, those are both solid. They're both playing pretty solid. I mean, the win-loss for Jari's average, though, 13-13-0. So, oh, I guess I'll briefly check who the league leaders are in the various categories for league-wide. Ovechkin is the league leader in overall scoring, 65 points. McKinnon, McDavid, Backstrom, usual suspects. Ooh, Malkin in 5th place. Okay, I mean, again, I don't wish him ill, but it is frustrating that he's doing better than anybody on my current team. And in fact, now he's second in goals behind Ovi. Assists. Backstrom, Carlson, Landeskog, and plus minus, Carlson leading the league, Rasmus Dahlin, Mark Stone, Marcia Salt. Okay, goalies. Tuukka Rask leading the way in wins. Our shutouts leader is Anderson. Save percentage for real goalies. I guess Ranta is probably the closest thing to a real goalie at 934. But actually, I mean, DeSmith is in the mix, and I think the qualification for like the league leaders in real hockey is only like 30% of your team's games, so he would technically count for whatever that means. And then goals against, again, Ranta just below 2.0, and then a big jump to Anderson at almost 220 as the next guy. So, okay. Well, so they wanted to briefly check how the minor league team's doing. I don't care a lot. Record, we got a losing record. I mean, the Pens in particular, their minor leaguers are nothing. They don't have a lot of prospects because they've been competing at a high level for so long and trading guys away. So they're below 500. I mean, yeah, they a bunch of guys in the 30-point range. And Bowie and Perlini, those are two of the guys I signed before the start of the season, so I guess it's nice to see them doing well. Miletic, I don't know how that's pronounced, but he's leading the league in goals. Gaudreau, Borquist, Lafferty, and Ruedel leading in assists. But again, it's until I rebuild the minor league system, I'm not too worried about any of this stuff. I mean, Starrett, is he maybe starting to make a case for himself, moving up to the big club? You could argue. I mean, 914 save percentage and 267 goals against isn't bad, but on the other hand, is it worth bumping Casey DeSmith? Probably not. But alright, so we go into February, and we're actually in decent position. So, let's run things out. Let's see what happens. Go, go, go. No, we're not making trades so far. No. Well, if I would be looking at a trade, I have never been all that enthusiastic about Mike Matheson because of his huge contract. And on the opposite end, David Savard's contract is expiring. So I've got, Kapanen's got bruised ribs. He's going to be out for a couple weeks. So, I mean, those are two guys where I at least listen to offers. But, of course, we got an injured defenseman. So that's going to, make it harder for me to make a trade. But yeah, Matheson or Savard, I would at least listen to offers on those guys. I think we are a conservative buyer. I don't want to break the bank. But at the same time, let's give it a shot and see what happens. Odd, though, that they set the trading deadline ended up being on, the 24th or 25th. That's kind of goofy. But, okay. I'm just going to take a quick look at what Matheson or Savard would get me. I mean, I could pick up some picks for Matheson. Gustav Nyquist. That might give me a little more scoring punch coming down the back stretch. It's not a terrible idea, because offense is kind of our... That's the other thing, is if we could do something to add some offense that didn't cost a whole lot. Bobby Ryan. Problem is, I'm somewhat fascinated by the idea of recouping some picks. And having some trade, and having more of a draft. Pellick in a third for Matheson. Bloger. A third and a fourth. Kemper. Oh, they want to send me Kemper. No, not for a pair of twos. No, thank you. Because the thing is, with Matheson, I even have a direct replacement. I can bring up Ricola and just plug Rico in. You know, he's third pairing anyways, so I'd go from what, an 81 to a 78 on the third pair. I don't see that as a huge loss. So the Rangers just made a move. I like that pair, a third this year and a third next year. I kind of like that deal from Boston. I'm thinking strongly about doing that. Though a third and a sixth from this year, or I'm sorry, those are both next year. Never mind. I'll shut up. Yeah, third 2 years in a row would kind of replenish this year's draft and get me another pick. And actually, it also looks like, did I lose my opportunity to get Nyquist in the meantime? You know what? I'm going to get rid of Matheson. That's a 6 years at $5 million for a guy who's a third pair is kind of pricey. I didn't really like Rutherford picking him up, but I'm going to go ahead and accept that. And I'm also going to look at Savard, but with Anderson being injured, I'm not sure I want to make another move. I may just play him out. But let's at least see what people are offering. Similar packages. But now that we're actually on the cusp of competing for the playoffs, I think I'm going to stay pat. And, you know, not just assemble. Because the other thing is, you know, I don't want to waste Crosby's remaining years. I don't want to just throw away a year and say we're not going to compete this year. So I do want to be competitive. So I don't want to just ship everything away for parts. All right, so Spurgeon and Johansson back to New Jersey for Smith and McLeod. Ryan Ellis to the Flyers for a first and Van Riemsdyk. Athanasiou to the from the Kings, I'm sorry, for a second and Dustin Wolf. Galchenyuk, Coburn, and two others from Ottawa for Ekholm, Forsberg, and McGinn. Or wait, I'm sorry, Nashville's in there. So there's two different deals, my bad. Alright, so it's getting Galchenyuk and Coburn from Ottawa and getting Ekholm and Forsberg from Nashville for a first and some smaller parts. Mikko Koivu to Columbus for picks. Cam Atkinson going up to Montreal. And the other one I want to look at, goofing off. I'm going to see what Tanev. Same sort of logic, big contract, fourth line. Oh, Anson Hutton. No, I don't think I need that. But it gives me a sense of what people are offering for Tanev, which is not a lot. But I kind of like Tanev. He hustles. He kind of plays with heart. He's not that expensive. So I don't dislike Tanev. But I would admit that a 5-year deal for a fourth liner is a little bit. But yeah, people aren't even offering me anything good for him. So never mind. All right. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the thing and move on. Okay, we saw that one. Shattenkirk and Hutton to Anaheim for a first, a fourth, and Hoglander. Lucic. I don't think he offers me anything on. Yeah, he'd fit on the fourth line if I even got him, and I don't see what that would. I'm just gonna go ahead and, other than the name, I don't see what that would get me. Alright, we've reached March 1st, and we are... Standings-wise, we're actually in a playoff spot now. I mean, we're tied. We're kind of at the top of... we're at the top of a fairly tight cluster of guys. And, in fact, first and second have kind of separated a little bit. But we're in the hunt. I mean, right now, we're in the playoffs, and people have to knock us out. So that's a good sign. All right, I am glad to hear that. So let me move on to... I'm not going to bother looking at the individual player stats. The one thing I want to do is I want to take a quick look at lines. And particularly, I wanted to get Ricola up and Ruedel down just to kind of tweak the defense pairings a little bit. Oh, Ricola's already up, so never mind. I think, he was already up because Anderson was injured. So, okay, so I didn't even need to do that particularly. Okay, that all makes sense. But let's take a quick look at lines. I want to edit the lines down the stretch. It keeps pushing Hosang to the #1 line, which, I respect that, but that's not exactly what I wanted to go for. Zucker, McCann, and Kapanen. Mangiapane. That's going to be Dubois. And Hosang. Interesting. This has better chemistry as a line 2 than as a line 3 and vice versa. So, I'm going to actually quickly change that. So that gets us better total chemistry. And our defense is... Okay, it's a little bit jumbled right now with the injury to Anderson, but whatever. It still looks +1, +1, +1, so... Alright, let's go with it. So, 36, 26, and 1. Let's make our final push for the playoffs, shall we? Go, go, go. Or at least our final... We'll go to April... the one other thing I wanted to do... I was going to look at some... the draft class and maybe scout some specific people, but for this year, at least, I'm not going to worry about it. So let's go. April 1st. A lot of churn on our defenseman down in Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, but whatever. It doesn't really affect what we're doing at the majors. And we passed the 40-win mark. Jankowski's injured wrist, but only for like a week or so. So let me tweak these lines. go with Aston Reese, I guess. Alright, so here we are, April 1st, the final 4 to 5 games. And our situation is we come back. We are not currently in the playoffs. In fact, we are 2 points out of wild card and at a 7-point gap to make third place. Wild card is basically looking like our only chance to get in. I mean, 7 points with like what, 5 games left to play, 4 games left to play. No, I'm sorry, 3 games left to play. Yeah, okay, so we can't make third place, so we can only get in as a wild card. Let's see how we're looking for the Eastern Conference. So 89 points is where the line starts for the playoffs. We're at 87, so we're just behind that. 85 Columbus, 80 Florida. So really, Columbus is the only person who could catch us from behind. But we need to make up ground on either Philly or Buffalo to get in. Because and there's only one spot for all, and since Tampa's got 93 points, they're pretty much guaranteed. Wait, why are they not even? They should be like top. Oh, because Buffalo could still catch Tampa for the third place, but so it looks like basically there's one. So Tampa and Buffalo probably have a wild card and third place between them. So really, we're talking about one playoff spot to fight over. So we better do well in the final few games, I guess. Again, at this point, we're so close to the end of the season, I'm not going to bother looking at individual player stats. We'll sort it out at the end of the year. First game against Detroit. Let's play it. So we lost that first game 5-3. Oh dear. That's not good. We got a back-to-back against Detroit. We won that one 3-1. And we're still on the outside. It looks like maybe we have a mathematical chance of getting in if we win, and I don't want to necessarily jump out and check, but okay, here we go. Yeah, if we win and the Flyers lose, we come down to tiebreaker. I think we may win that tiebreaker on ROW, because I think most of our wins are in regulation. Yeah, so if we win and the Flyers lose, we get in. But we lost 6-5, and we are eliminated at the very end of the season. Sad trombone. So I think where we're going to wrap this is I think I'm going to look at like individual stats and see what the playoff tree looks like. And then next week we'll actually do the playoffs and awards and retirements and then up through the draft and into free agency. So I think the last thing we'll do this episode is look at all the individual stats and stuff. So, standing wise, let's revel in the pain one more time. And yeah, Philly won their last game anyways, so even if we had won, they would have won and they would have gotten the last playoff spot. So it's the Capitals with 105 points at the top, Rangers, Devils, and Flyers getting in the Metro. In the Atlantic, it's Boston with 112 points. That would be your conference champions as well. Toronto, Tampa, and Sabres. In the Central, it's Dallas, Winnipeg, St. Louis. And Pacific, it is San Jose, Vegas, Arizona, Anaheim, and Vancouver. So 5 teams from the Pacific. That also means that Boston gets the President's Trophy at, like, what, 115, I think it was? Just checking. Yeah, 112. Okay, sorry. League-wide, yeah, Boston's your President's Trophy winner at 112. At the bottom, Carolina at 65 points, Montreal 67, Detroit and Nashville at 71. I'm wondering who has my first round pick, because I'm wondering what they're going to potentially get, but we'll deal with that next episode. I am a little curious. Let's kind of take a look at who did the best in terms of scoring and preventing goals. Again, we were still top 10 in goal per... Actually, no, I'm sorry. This is offense, so we were still bottom 10. We ended up bottom 10 in goals scored, with the Kings having the worst offense. The best offense, Tampa Bay at 3.5 per game. Goals against, Chicago at the bottom with 3.5 per game let up. But Toronto at the top. And let's just stick a finger in my eye there, as we are the only team in the top of the standings page on defense that didn't make the playoffs. So, hooray! Thanks, guys. Thanks. Best power play was the Capitals at 32%. Best penalty kill, Dallas with a 86.9, and Ottawa right behind them with 86.8. And the worst penalty kill, Carolina at 75. Worst power play, New Jersey at 12.9. Oof. That's some pretty awful numbers. Alright, let's go to some player stats. Sidney Crosby, nice year for him. 34 goals, 49 assists for an 83-point season. Supporting cast didn't get another goal scorer, or a 30-goal scorer. Gensel at 69, Dubois 56, McCann 52. Kapanen at least got 20 goals. Zucker 48 points, Tuck 42. Little underwhelming based on what I hoped out of him, but oh well. Goals scored, Crosby the only 30 guy, but then we had Gensel 25, McCann 24. Dubois, pretty good first season for the Pens, and still young, so he's going to hopefully get better. Kapanen 20 goals. Assists, yep, same basic set of guys. Tuck breaks in on assists. Ho-Sang with 30 assists. That's a little bit nutty. Don't care a lot about plus minus, but McCann and Marino at plus 15, Savard plus 14. Okay, here's our best shooting percentage. It's 13% for McCann, Dubois 13%. Our goalies, and Casey DeSmith just flat out had a better year than Jarry. They both played almost an equal number of games. I mean, Jarry didn't have a bad year. I mean, 287 isn't terrible, and 912 save percentage, but DeSmith, man, yeah, arguably should have been the starter, I guess. I don't know. Meanwhile, at my minor league club, our points leader was Frederick Gaudreau at 54 points. again, the Pens right now don't have a lot of real. I mean, the real prospect. I mean, we've got Poulin with 26 points, which for a 20-year-old's not bad. And I don't know, POJ had 4 goals. So if you're looking for actual prospects, those are probably the two guys I'm even vaguely concerned about. Maybe Drosk a little bit. He's young enough to be considered a prospect, but yeah, overall, I'm not sure I care. I mean, Bowie only insofar as I picked him up, and he was my third leading scorer, and Perlini was fifth, though with a minus 22. Ooh, ouch. Goal scoring: Gaudreau, Bjorkquist, Angelo, Lafferty. No, nothing exciting here really, and nothing exciting there. And our goalies: Starrett, 301 goals against is nothing special. Lagasse did okay as a backup, but I mean he's 28. He's not a prospect or anything. Larmy, 295, only played 6 games. Nothing. Nobody in the organization really moving the needle there. So, oh, sorry. Right. Let's get on to. And lastly, let's look at league-wide who did all the cool stuff. And surprise, surprise, Alex Ovechkin, your points leader with 107. McKinnon and Backstrom also finishing over 100. The points per game club, you got McDavid, Marner, Matthews, Carlson, Huberdeau, Panarin, Malkin. Damn, 48 goals from Malkin. Jack Eichel, Dadonov, Pasternak, Crosby, Tarasenko, Kuznetsov, Kane. That is the at least a point per game for the 82-game season. Goals. I'm not going to go that deep on the other stats. I was just generally curious. So Ovechkin blowing everybody else away. Malkin second. It's, I keep saying I don't wish him ill, but it's a little bit of a pain point that he goes and finishes second in goals. I will be honest enough to admit that. Austin Matthews at 47, McKinnon 44, Kessel 41. Also an ex-Pen, though not my doing. Giroux, McDavid, okay. Assists, Backstrom 75 is the number one guy. Carlson, Huberdeau, OEL, Voracek, Marner, McKinnon, McDavid, Panarin, blah, blah, blah. Plus minus. Charlie McAvoy, plus 41. Matheson, plus 40. I didn't really look and see how he was doing when I traded him. Did that all come after? And 11 and 16. Either I wasn't paying much attention to his stats, or he really blew up after the trade. Because I don't recall him having 11 goals when I shipped him out. But then again, I will admit. Well, here, we have the ability to look, don't we? Okay, no, actually, he was doing. I mean, the goals and assists he was actually doing pretty well for us, 8 and 9. But the plus minus did blow up. I mean, plus 22 in 18 games. I mean, that's pretty crazy. So, but I mean, all right. Well, I'm not gonna cry about it. It is what I mean. Getting the contract relief was probably the thing I was most interested in. For Teddy Bluger, for guys who played a lot of games, Teddy Bluger's your shooting percentage leader, your accuracy leader. Power play goals, I guess. 29 for Ovechkin. Shorties. Okay, 4 for Crosby. Hey, we have somebody lead the league in something. All right, I don't want to go too deep in this. I don't know. Just generally curious. So let's look at goalies. See who did good stuff with the goalies. Ben Bishop, your wins leader with 42. Carter Hart, 38. Anderson, 37. Shesterkin, 35. I kind of remember him not doing so well out of the gate, so that's a good sign that he kind of came back and turned in a good year. Leonard, Dubnik, Markstrom, blah, blah, blah. Shutouts. Hellebuck is the man with 8. Ranta with 7. Ullmark 6. Bishop 6. Anderson 6. Save percentage. Ranta about a 50-50 split with Kemper, and he has a 934 save percentage. Just Smith, also a 50-50 split with a 923. Hellebuck, 922. Bishop, the closest thing to an everyday starter at 922. Rask, 920. Anderson, 919. Goals against, similar story. Ranta's your king with 204. Smith, 231. Tuukka Rask, 237. Hellebuck, 239. That'll be a little bit interesting when it comes to awards time, just insofar as, Ranta clearly had the best stats in terms of the rate stats, but he doesn't have a lot of. He didn't play most of it. He only played half of his team's game. He only won 24 games. Be interested to see how the vote goes when they're doling out the Vezina later. So the last thing we're gonna check, and then we'll probably wrap up, is the rookie race. Well, rookie skaters. It almost always the rookie race. Ooh, pretty close contest. Kirill Kaprizov 57 points, Laffy with 55, Stützle with 40. I mean, are they just gonna brute force it and go with Kaprizov, or are they gonna give it to Laffy's team? Arguably did better. I think the Rangers made the playoffs and the Wild did not. So I mean, is that gonna factor in? I've noticed the Calder voting is pretty dumb, so it's probably just gonna be Kaprizov. I mean, it probably just goes to the guy who got the most points. Kravtsov also. So Rangers had 2 pretty strong performances from rookies. Frost, Barrett Hayton, Dylan Cousins, Jeremy Bracco, Luke Johnson. Rookie goalies. Anything interesting going on there? Well, Shesterkin. That gives the Rangers 3 rookies that did really well this year. So you got Shesterkin, who played 69 games. Pretty solid. I mean, his rate stats aren't anywhere near the league leaders, but I mean, he kept him in games and got 35 wins, so you can't really complain with the results too much. No one else. I mean, the other rookies were backups. Sorokin with 20 games, Gillies 23, Delia 29. So the Rangers are the big story here with 3 different rookies that you can make. I mean, Kaprizov will probably still win the Calder, but their young players really kind of drove them forward. So we're not going to start the playoffs, but I figure we'll at least look at what the brackets look like. Oh wait, actually we can't do that until we actually choose to advance. So you know what? I guess this is where we're going to call it, and we'll pick it up next week. Next time it'll be playoffs and closing out the season closeout and the draft. And so thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.